Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Hi, my name is Candace and I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. In today's episode, you already know. Welcome to the Penelope Douglas Stalker Hour. My name is Candace and I'm your host. How are you? In today's video, we will be plowing through, our reviews for Penelope Douglas's Devil's Night series. If you have watched my last few videos, you will know that I'm on some next level shit. Like, crazy stalkerage. I mean, not really, like not in person stalkerage, not even really online stalkerage because I can't get in contact with Miss Douglas in any way. She doesn't allow people to tag her on Instagram, so I'm 100% sure she doesn't know I exist. But nonetheless, I love her. I love her books. I'm obsessed. So, okay, here's the deal. I have been going through a reading slump off and on, because I won't say that like every book I've read is trash, because that's not true. But I have not been so obsessed, like so deep into a book or like a series in years. So around 2010, I moved from South Carolina to New York. Prior to that, I was an avid romance novel reader. Like when I say avid, I mean like finish a book in a day type avid. Okay, like what, Candace, did you have a job? Like what were you doing for a living? Like that though. I moved to New York. I didn't have any of my books. I could have still like read new stuff, but I was trying to establish myself and get an apartment and save money and and it's just stuff comes first, right? So for a hot minute, I fell off the reading wagon and I didn't read anything. And then I slowly got back onto it when I rented a car to come down to visit my family. And on the drive back, I stuffed the back of the car, the rental car, with every book from my personal like collection that I could fit in that car was in that car. This was before my daughter was born. She's 4 now, by the way. And literally it was like a mid-size SUV and I pushed as many books as I could fit to bulging. Like I was like, I need my books where I am. I need to be able to get back into reading. I need that. So I did that. We drove back. Double the gas because of how much the fucking car weighed. But we're not gonna talk about that. Got back to New York. My collection is there. Most of it. Because my mom had kept it, like all my books in storage. And a lot of them got destroyed by like weather and rats. Not like cute fancy rats you buy at the pet store, because I've had a few of those and they're so adorable. But like rats. Had like chewed my books up, and they had some of them had gotten water damaged, and it was a hot mess, right? So a lot of my collections that I had up to that point, where I had read and bought every single paperback or every single hardcover for that series, was they were missing some. So I had to spend subsequent time filling those in to get my collection of my ride or die authors back on point. And fast forward to, what year is it? 2021? I don't know. We moved back to South Carolina in 2019. Me, my husband, and my daughter, and our dog. And I want to say since even before 2019, like maybe around 2017, 18, I entered into like a slump where, yeah, okay, I read that book and it was good, but I wasn't like obsessed with it. It was just good, right? New books that came out for like my ride or die bitches, like Cressley Cole, Gina Showalter, J.R. Ward, like Nora Roberts, like those are the authors, those type of authors that you don't even need to know what the book is about. You're just going to buy the book, right? I know that we all have those types of authors. But aside from those, every book that I would try that was new, right? That an author I've never read before or something, I would read it. And some of them were and some of them were not, not great. And then some of them were good. But I didn't like dream about them. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't like, when is the next one coming out? I twitch. Like, so I consider that to be a slump. I know it's a lot to ask, but I want every book that I read to consume my soul to the point that I felt the book. You know what I mean? Like I feel it. And like I like books that are plot heavy. I like books that have humor. I like, you know what I'm saying? Like I want it to have a little bit of everything that I like, so that it's like a part of me now. And I know that seems really OD, but I want every book to be like that. And not every book was like that. Really none of them were like that. Until recently. So, Penelope Douglas is a fairly new find for me. Prior to, I want to say like maybe 6 months ago, I didn't know who she was. I had never heard of her before. I honestly don't know when these books were published. Any of her books were published. I haven't delved that deep. I saw a recommendation for Birthday Girl. Someone posted in one of my Facebook reader groups, Dirty Little Secret Book Club. Dirty Little Secret Book Club? Dirty Little Secret Book Blog. There's two, but I can't remember which one is the name of the group, because it's just always there and I don't look at the title anymore. But I saw someone asking for age gap romances, like recommendations in that group, and the overwhelming response was, you have to read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I am not an avid age gap reader. I've read a few. They were fine. They weren't like, okay. There is something forbidden and tantalizing about a younger girl and an older guy, right? But, okay. But that's like, it fell into the gap, like the taboo section, right? And I haven't done a lot of taboo romance. Like I'm more like regular, just clear-cut contemporary or clear-cut paranormal or clear-cut whatever. So I was like, okay, well, there's 50 comments. And out of the 50 comments on this post, there's 43 of them say read Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Like, they can't all be wrong, right? So I looked on my Kindle. It was free to read with KU. Okay. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll give it a shot and see what's what, right? I nothing else is appealing to me at the moment. So let me just dive in and see how this is. I did that. I neglected so many things, IRL, in favor of reading. For the first time in a very long time, I had that urge to want to read. Like, yeah, during the day, there's times where you have downtime and you can choose either watch television or you can read read on your Kindle the book you're currently in the middle of. And I always opted for television because the book was good, but it wasn't like, right? This book, the angst between the two main characters was ridiculous. Like, oh, that's the washing machine. I'm home alone and I thought someone was breaking into my house. Okay, so the angst between the two main characters was so off the charts that I was literally like, oh, this book is killing me. It's killing me. There's been like a dozen times something could have happened and it didn't for whatever reason. And now I just need it. I need it. Just do it. Get it on. Do it. That's like, I felt that. And then I was like, okay, I'm obsessed with this book. I love this book. I bought the trade paperback. The next book that I read was, what the fuck was in that book? Credence. I went into Credence. I didn't even really read the blurb. I was just like, all right, I'm going to give her another one of her books a shot because Birthday Girl was so good. I went into Credence not knowing what to expect. Or thinking maybe it's going to be age gap again. And when no. There's a little sprinkling of age gap. There's a little sprinkling of reverse harem, which is another taboo genre, subgenre that I don't really delve into much. Then there was the main, like, connection between the main female character and what I considered to be the guy I wanted her to end up with. And the plot was so well done. And so just soul-sucking, I fell in love. 5 seconds later, I bought the trade paperback. I don't care how much money it is. Take it. Take my money. I don't care. Just give me the book. I have to have it on my shelf. Even if I never touch it again, I know it's there and I can just look at it. Okay? I went from that to Punk 57. I loved that book too. Like, it was just one after another, and none of them disappointed me. And it got to the point where I was like, I have to read her entire catalog. I need to blow my way through. Pause again. And I need to just get more. I need more. Okay. Fast forward 500 years later because I've been talking for like an hour. I was looking through popular suggestions for her. Devil's Night series came up. The Devil's Night series is comprised of, at the moment, because I don't know if there will be more books coming out. I haven't delved that deep again, but I probably will. At the moment, there are 4 full-length novels that center around the 4 main male characters of the series. Then there are 2 small novellas. The first novella, Conclave, falls chronologically, it's a big word, chronologically between books 3 and 4. Okay, so it's labeled as Devil's Night series 3.5. I started in on the first book, Corrupt, and I was like, ooh, this is dark. I didn't expect this, but I was obsessed. And then I got into Hideaway, which is the second book, and I was like, look at me. There's only so many ways that I can say the word obsessed. Like, I can't, even my brain right now won't think of any. I can't, obsessed is the only word that I can think of. But I was obsessed. Michael's book was good. It's the first one in the series. Michael and Rika are the main couple for Corrupt. Kai and Banks are the main couple for Hideaway. By the end portion of Hideaway, I already knew. I went into Hideaway being obsessed with Kai. I wanted Kai's book so badly. He was like a standout character to me. I read Hideaway. I fucking adored it. But by the end, I wanted Damon's book. I was drooling on myself. Like, okay. So, long story short, 2 hours later. In today's video, we will be continuing our reviews for Penelope Douglas's Devil's Night series with book 3, Kill Switch. Okay. This video is going to be so convoluted, scatterbrained, harem-scarum, any other word you can think of, analogy you can think of for yogurt brain. I'm going to do my best. But as you can see, this book is huge. And I had to intake all this information. I did. And I was like in it to win it. But it's a lot. It's very plot heavy. There is a larger backstory at play behind the actual story of the book that runs throughout the whole series. That's like it's like Inception, but for books. Like, was Inception based on a book? I don't know. I don't know. But like that. It's a book inside of a book inside of it. It's a plot inside of a plot inside of another plot. Okay. This book. This is book 3 of her Devil's Night series. This book and all of the books in this series, including the novellas, are free to read with Kindle Unlimited. If you have a Kindle and you have Kindle Unlimited, it's like $9.99 a month or something. You have no excuse. Go read these books right now. Stop what you're doing. Oh, you're eating lunch? You're eating dinner? Stop. Go download the book. Okay. That's all I can say. So, if you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, it's $4.99. That's a lot of book for $4.99. So it's still a pretty good deal. If you want to buy this trade paperback, $20.69 right now. Okay. I am a cheap ass bitch. Okay. I don't mind the odd mass market at $7.99, $8.99. Sure. Okay. If I need it, if it's like a really one of my authors, I gotta have it. Trade paperbacks are a whole new like animal for me. I didn't even know I didn't know that's what they were called when I would see them used in the bookstore. I didn't know. I didn't know that they cost more. Like I mean, sure, you know they cost more, but $20. Each one of the books in the series, minus the novellas, is between $15 and $20 for the trade paperbacks. I own the entire series right now. Even the ones I have not read. I bought them because I knew that I was going to love them. I don't even need to know what they're about. It's part of the series? Okay, buy it. I spent about $100. Don't tell my husband. I spent about $100. That's dedication. That's okay. So, because it's free with Kindle Unlimited, I don't think you can get this book for your Nook, and I could not find it used on eBay. So, pretty much Amazon is the only place you're going to be able to find this book. I'm sorry, but it is what it is, right? I will read you guys the blurb, and then we'll break it down, and I'll show you exactly what I went through while reading this book. Okay. Before we do that, for all of the out there, trigger warning. This book and all of the books in this series are considered dark romance novels. They have triggering plot points. They have border pushing, line pushing plot points. Rape, torture, kidnapping. Okay, right? All of these things that are not to everyone's taste. If you like dark romance, you will love this series. If you do not like dark romance, or you don't know if you're a fan of dark romance, if you don't like dark romance, don't read it. If you don't know if you don't like dark romance, like if I came into it not really knowing even what dark romance was. I've read a few books prior to this that were labeled as dark romance, and yes, they were borderline. Whoa. But I went into it with an open mind. and it was, okay. So, you've been warned. You will also get warned that all of my videos contain massive spoilers. If you have not read the series and you want to read the series without any information besides the blurb, tune off. Because I break down the plot as best I can and tell you pretty much everything. So if you don't want that, tune off. Okay, I'm gonna read the blurb. It's lengthy, as you do, right? As she does. But I appreciate that because it gives you as much information as possible so that the people out there who leave a 1-star review going, God, I didn't know this book was going to be like this. It's so disgusting. And okay. Did you even read the blurb? Because it says in the blurb that I'm going to ruin this bitch's life. Okay. So the blurb for this one says, there's like a little quote, right? That I'm pretty sure is Damon's point of view. The two main characters for this book are Damon and Winter is the female character. So there's a little quote that says, I've done far worse than what I went to prison for. She has no idea how bad this can get. I'm already in. Like, it sounds, do all the bad things to me, Daddy. Like, I'm in it. Okay. The first part of the blurb is from the POV of Winter. Sending him to prison was the worst thing I could have done. It didn't matter that he did the crime or that I wished he was dead. Perhaps I thought I'd have time to disappear before he got out, or he'd cool off in jail and be anything but the horror he was. But I was wrong. 3 years came and went too fast, and now he's anything but calm. Prison only gave him time to plan. And while I anticipated his vengeance, I didn't expect this. He doesn't want to make me hurt. He wants to make everything hurt. Okay. I know that last bit can sound kind of confusing, but I'll get into why that makes sense when I break down the plot. The next part is from Damon's POV. First things first, get rid of her daddy. He told them I forced her. He told them his little girl was a victim, but I was a kid too, and she wanted it just as much as I did. Step 2, give her, her sister, and her mother nowhere to run and no fuel to escape. The Ashby women are alone now and desperate for a knight in shining armor, but that's not what's coming. Now it's time I listened to my father and took control of my future. It's time I showed them all, my family, her family, my friends, that I will never change and that I have no other ambition than to be the nightmare of their lives, starting with her. She'll be so scared she won't even be safe in her own head by the time I'm done with her. And the best part is I won't have to break into her home to do it. As the new man of the house, I have all the keys. Okay. Little snippet at the end. Kill Switch is a romantic suspense suitable for readers 18 plus. It is advised to read Corrupt and Hideaway prior to reading this book. Both are available with Kindle Unlimited. Okay. I appreciate that footnote because I've talked about this before many a time, that I'm very guilty of reading a blurb and it says at the bottom that it's a standalone novel and it's actually not. It's part of a series and I don't realize it until I'm 3/4 of the way through the book and it's book 5 in a series and I'm fucked. So then my OCD kicks in and I'm like, oh, what? Okay. And I have to go back to the beginning and read from the beginning. Okay. So I really appreciate that footnote. Thank you. You guys know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I make like a little printout before I do every video, which has all of the relevant details of the book, price-wise, number of pages, etc., etc., which I didn't even fucking write down on this one, the number of pages. Loser. And then it has a blurb and my rating at the bottom. Because my brain has just turned into such garbage, and I didn't want, it was so important that I didn't forget any of the plot points of this book, I want you guys to see what I've been reduced to. What the fuck is this? As I was reading, I would just hear something. I was listening to an audiobook on some of this. I would hear something, or I would get to a point in the reading when I would go, this is important, this is important. And I would stop what I was doing to run and find a pen and get my piece of paper and write down so I wouldn't forget. So yeah, so that's what I've been reduced to. Okay, so I'm gonna look really quick and just see. Ooh, that's a snippet for Nightfall, which is the next one in the series. Okay, this book has the trade paperback. I don't know about the Kindle edition. 638 pages. That's a chunky boy. I could have done with another 200 pages. I fucking love Damon and Winter. Like, I was so, oh God. Okay, really quick, I just want to show you guys. The covers to these books are so fucking stunning. Like, the black and white, macabre, just like gothic feel to them, and then the blood red font. Oh my God, I love. Inside, there are illustrations that go along with every chapter. All of the chapters that are from Winter's POV have this on the left side of the chapter page. It's a fountain, and all of the POV, all of and all of the chapters that are from Damon's point of view have like a hedge maze, both of which are very important to the plot or like references to the plot. The covers for these books also have like a distinctive shimmer to them, like a very subtle shimmer. Like, I don't want to say holographic, because holographic, is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah. I don't want to say holographic because it's not that strong. You have to look for it. But when you see it, and you're like, oh my God. So it's not like glitter that would stand out that like you would feel when you run your hand across it. They do have like that suede feeling of the covers that I love. The beginning of these books also have a list that was created by the author, that is a playlist of songs, if you can see, that inspired her, I guess, during the writing of this, or that she thinks relate to the plot of the book and the characters in the book. You can find these playlists on Spotify and listen to them. And they're like, the songs are ranging from like metal to emo to popish to alternative. Like they're all over the place, but it's like suited for different parts of the book. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Okay, so the book opens with like a flashback scene from Winter's point of view. Each chapter alternates POVs. So even though you may have some that are like several chapters, like 2 chapters will be from the same person's point of view, it does not switch POVs within the chapters, which I appreciated. Same thing goes for like present day versus flashback scene, or like 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever. That is done usually at the beginning of the chapter, and it will tell you like Damon present, or Winter 6 years ago, or whatever, right? Okay, so the book opens on a flashback scene from Winter's point of view. She's 8 years old. She is at the Torrance Mansion / Fortress, where there's a party going on. She is a ballerina. She takes classes under the tutelage of Damon's mother, who was a Russian ballerina. Okay, Damon's father is a criminal. He's a piece of shit. But so Winter is 8 in this flashback scene, and Damon is 11. So she's at the party. She's looking for her mom. She sees something in wandering around the house looking for her mom that she really shouldn't see, but it stays with her, and it's her mom going into a room with Gabriel Torrance, Damon's dad, and the door shutting, and it's very clear that they're having an affair. She goes outside to where the party is happening in like the garden. It's like a garden party, very elegant. This is after like a ballet recital that they've had. They have the party, I think she mentions like twice a year they do this. And she's now looking for her sister. Her sister has like disappeared. Her sister is a few years older, 3 years older than her. She is walking around the fountain. There's a beautiful fountain and a hedge maze. Within the center of the hedge maze, there's the fountain. The fountain she's standing next to, she's approached by Damon's mom, who's just like, "Are you having a good time, dear?" Okay. She sees out of the corner of her eye something moving behind the water in the fountain. And she realizes that there is a person hiding behind the fountain, like behind the waterfall of the fountain. There's like a little alcove inside, behind the wall of water. It's Damon. She leans down to talk to him, and she's just making like idle chit chat, like, "Hey, I've seen you in church." Damon was raised Catholic, and even though he's not a practicing Catholic, he was raised that way. So she's like, "I've seen you in church. You don't ever take the bread they give you. I wonder why that is." And she's just making like idle chit chat. She's 8 years old. She doesn't, she finally asks, like, I'm feeling really uncomfortable about what I just saw with my mom, and I really don't like it here. I don't like this place. It gives me the creeps. Can I come in there and hide with you? And at first he doesn't respond. He seems comatose almost. Like he's clearly like scared and like dissociating type, right? She's like, "Okay, I'll stop bothering you. I'll just go." And then before she can turn around, he sticks his hand through the water and holds out his hand for her to come in. She goes in. She sees that they have like a little interlude where she kind of draws him out of his shell, and he, in a subconscious way, kind of attaches himself to her, like a lifeline. Even though she's just a child and she doesn't know anything that's going on in his life, he sees her as innocent and pure, and you're talking to me and you're nice and I like you and we should hang out and we should whatever. Okay. So they leave the fountain. They go, he takes her, he's like, "I want to show you something." He takes her to a treehouse that he has where he goes to hide sometimes from his parents, his mother specifically, and we're going to get into that more. He takes her up to the top, and something happens, and she falls out of the treehouse. She hits her head several times on the way down, and as a result of that, she becomes blind. So this particular part did not happen in this first flashback scene. Only the fountain part happened, but it does explain that later on in the book what happened with the treehouse. So the timeline in this book is alternating between present day, 3 years ago. Well, now I think it's like 4 or 5 years ago, because it's been a few years since the first book, Corrupt. And childhood, when they were 8 and 11, respectively. So in the first 2 books, we saw the basic plot that has kind of gone through all of the books, which is there are 4 main male characters: Michael, Damon, Kai, and Will. The first book, Corrupt, is Michael's book. The second book, Hideaway, is Kai's book. Kill Switch is Damon's book. They start out as teenagers in the beginning of the series. The basic premise of the series as a whole is that they were rich, overindulged teenagers in high school who, in their freshman year of high school, started playing these pranks and antics and just creating chaos while wearing masks every year on the same night, the night prior to Halloween, which is called Devil's Night. They would go around town and they would pranks. As they became older or progressed through high school, Devil's Night became more of a ritual celebrated by everyone, or like a lot more of the high school and college crowd. They became famous. They were known as the Horsemen, like the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse type situation. And their pranks became, or what they would get up to on Devil's Night, became progressively more mature. Arson, orgies, just more. So they made the unfortunate mistake of using a cell phone, an extra cell phone, to record some of their misdeeds in their senior year of high school. No, not their senior year of high school. The next year, the year that they came back after leaving high school, they were in college, and they made the mistake of recording some of their misdeeds on a cell phone. The video got leaked online, and 3 of the 4 of them, because 3 of them took off their masks in the video and could be identified. The 4th one did not. Michael did not. But Damon, Kai, and Will all went to jail for the stuff they got up to. So Damon went to jail for having statutory rape, basically, having sex with an underage girl. He was, I think, 19, and she was 16, I think. 16 or 17, I can't remember. The girl in question was Winter, the main female character of the book. It was technically not, legally speaking, it was statutory rape. He got a firmer rap as like a legit rapist, because her father, the mayor of their town of Thunder Bay, basically persuaded the court system that he had forced her to have sex with him, aka he had actually raped her. So Damon got a longer sentence than the other 2 by several months. They all got roughly around 3 years in jail. After Winter lost her sight at the age of 8, she was shipped off to kind of like a boarding school, but it was specifically for the blind, and it was in Canada. And she comes back after being there for 5 years, I think. 5 years? I can't remember. She comes back and enters regular high school. She wants to have a normal life. She convinces her parents to let her come back to Thunder Bay and attend public high school. She's a freshman. She's going into public high school. She befriends another girl by the name of Erica Fane, who is Rika from the first book. who basically takes her around the school, shows her where everything is, acclimates her to normal public society. Throughout this period of time, she's terrified of Damon. Damon has always been scary. Damon, from the time that he grew up, after that incident when they were 8 and 11, she blamed him for her blindness. She was remembering what had happened in the treehouse, but only in fragments. And so she blamed him for letting her fall or pushing her out of the treehouse. So she's afraid of him. He always smells like smoke because he's like a chain smoker. And anytime, because obviously she has no sight, her other senses are somewhat heightened. She smells the smoke and she's like, she knows he's there. She knows he's around. So all throughout high school, she's steering clear of Damon as much as possible. One night she's dancing because she's continued her ballet, even being blind. She still wants to be a ballet dancer. She still wants to have a career as a ballerina. She's told by everyone that it's not feasible for her anymore. It's not, you can't dance with a chorus. You can't, you know what I'm saying? She's not hearing that. She's like, I'm still going to practice every day. I'm still going to stay in shape. I'm still going to do whatever. So one night, her parents were out of town. Her sister is having like a pool party, and she goes out with Rika to where the pool area is. Damon spots her. He follows her back into the house because she has like a little thing with her sister, and like she goes back inside. She's like, I don't want to be in this crowd. He follows her back into the house, and he watches her dance without her knowing. After the dance is over, he's entranced. He still has those feelings that he had for her when he was 11, of her being like a safe space, of her. He wants to be different with her than he is with everyone else. He watches her dance. The dance ends. He tells her, like, he makes himself known that he's there. And in a very scary way, he like entraps her in the house. But she's not afraid. She's tantalized. She doesn't know that it's him because he was in the pool and he doesn't smell like cigarettes. And she starts seeing him off and on. She doesn't start seeing him, obviously, but she starts seeing him off and on as like her gentleman bad boy. He'll just pop up randomly when no one else is around. And she's exhilarated, and she's like, he excites her, and he lets her do things that no one else will let her do. He encourages her to dance. He lets her drive his car, like obviously like in a very sexy way. Like he lets her like sit on his lap, and he controls the gas, and he lets her control the steering, and he lets her drive, which is one of the main things that she missed out on, being blinded at such a young age. So she's very excited when she's with him, and over the course of the book, she starts to develop feelings for him. She still does not know that it's Damon. Before he comes to her, he will take a shower, make sure there's no smoke smell on him, because he's leading almost like a double life, where he's in school and he sees her and he taunts her and he whatever, and he makes her miserable. And then behind the scenes, he's coming to her house and he's flirting with her, and he's supportive and nice, and he's still edgy, but he's a good person. He's giving her something that she desperately needs after being cloistered for so many years by her parents, by friends, family, teachers, everything. He's giving her freedom. As the book progresses, he's obviously also developed feelings for her. Not just like infatuation, but like deep feelings, like he's in love with her. They end up having sex. Making love. They end up making love. He can't stay away from her. Her parents find out. In the ensuing like melee, I guess, it's revealed that the guy you just had sex with is Damon. She's horrified. She's hurt. She feels betrayed. She's like, you didn't force me to have sex with you. You didn't rape me, but you tricked me into it because I thought I was having sex with this faceless mystery guy. And in fact, it was you. Her father has him brought up on charges. A video that was taken the first night, because I want to say they had sex like 2 nights back to back, and he was discovered the second time. The first time, there was, she told him to take a picture of her so that if he never showed up again, he would have something to remember her by. Instead, he took a video. After a few seconds of them heavily making out, he drops the phone, but it doesn't stop. Nothing can be seen, but everything can be heard, and it doesn't stop recording. So it's very apparent that not only did they have sex, but that she was into it. Okay. Half the town is torn. He's a rapist. He had sex with an underage girl. The other half of the town is, they're only separated by a few years. We all saw the video. She was into it. Now she's crying foul. So now everybody's making fun of her, or everybody's against her. He goes to jail for 3 years. While he's in jail, he devises a plot for revenge. He gets out of prison with the assistance of Rika. He exposes a scandal against Winter's father, the mayor, where I think he was like embezzling or something from people. Her father goes on the run and abandons her sister, and her mom to the elements. No money, no nothing. They're broke. Everything is gone. Damon steps in and makes her sister, not Winter, her sister and her mom, he proposes a deal. I'm going to marry you, the sister. Stay married to me for a year. My dad will pay you. A big dowry type situation. You guys will be set again. You can keep your house. You can do whatever, right? She agrees to it, the sister. You're a freaking idiot. And that allows Damon into the Ashby house as leader of the family now. And his sole purpose is to make Winter as miserable as possible. He's kind of separated now between the part of him, he's still torn, between the part of him that still wants her and still feels a connection to her, and the part of him that hates her for not standing up and saying, no, I wanted him. It wasn't rape. He shouldn't have gone to jail, like that kind of thing. So he's in his evil way deciding she needs to pay, right? Winter, since he went to prison, she has developed a little bit more spine. She's matured. She's still friends with his friends. She's become friends with Rika. She was already friends with Rika, but she's become friends with Michael, Will, Kai, all of them. So after Hideaway, Damon had done a lot of dirty stuff. When he was released from prison, he teamed up with Michael's younger brother to basically get rid of all of them. He was angry and he felt hurt and betrayed by them because it appeared as if Michael was choosing Rika over him, and he basically got butthurt about it, right? So he did some really bad things in the first 2 books. Now, the whole group of them have like a tenuous truce. Like it's one of those things where when we're in polite society, we'll be civil, but we still don't like you. We still think you went too far and you did these things. There are unresolved issues between him and Will, especially Will. They were the closest before jail, and when Damon was released from prison, Will was already out. Kai was already out. They had been out for a few months before Damon got released, since he had a longer sentence. And in the plot to get revenge against Michael for choosing Rika over him, or over his family, his brothers, he almost let Will die. Trevor, who was Michael's younger brother, was a psycho. And he did not know how far Trevor was going to take it, especially to the extent of Will almost drowning. Will has been so fucked up from that incident, from jail, from everything, that he's now even more psychologically damaged than he was before. He's like the grandson of a senator, and he's grown up in a very political environment where he, it wasn't a good place for him. And then he goes to jail, and he had to survive almost 3 years in prison. And then he gets out, and his best friend tries to have him killed, or tries to kill him. And so he's real fucked up. Damon has unresolved issues with him about that, because even though Will is being civil to him in public, that he's never apologized. Like, Damon has never apologized for anything in his life. So that's kind of also going on in the background. He is secretly working with Rika. Rika was the one who uncovered the embezzlement of Winter's father. In exchange, Damon had one of their mutual friends, Alex, dig up information that pertained to Rika's father, Rika's family. And it was kind of like an exchange. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. Okay, cool. Damon has always felt like some kind of connection to Rika, even before, when he thought that she was invading on his turf, like with his best friends. She stood out more than other girls, right? Not necessarily in like a sexual way, but he felt something else for her. Like, there was a connection there. He didn't know what it was, but okay. So they have been working together to get information on these prominent players in the area of Thunder Bay and the adjoining town, Meridian City. The adjoining city, Meridian City. Damon, since coming out of jail, has devised a bigger, like, end game of wanting to basically take over Thunder Bay. He has now reached the point where, after everything that happened in the first 2 books of the series, he's reached the point where he wants his friends back. He wants his family. Michael, Rika, even Rika, Kai, his sister Banks, who is with Kai, and Will, and now Alex, who is like an escort that Rika met in the first book, that has kind of joined their band of merry men, right? He wants all of that. He wants to atone with them, not with Winter, but with them. And his plan to do that is to basically have the end game of, we're gonna rule Thunder Bay and Meridian City. Like, it's gonna be our domain. He wants to institute Rika as the mayor now that Mayor Ashby is on the run. The town has no mayor. Who would be a good fit for mayor? Rika. She's very headstrong. She's very, like, she would be a good fit. She comes from a prominent family. She's never done a bad thing in her life, apparently, right? So he has like bigger goals, but his main goal is to torment Winter. So throughout the book, he basically does that. He alienates her from everyone. He sends her sister and her mom off on their honeymoon, and he's going to join them in a few days. It's all a ruse to get Winter alone in the house with him, where he can stalk her and torment her and play with her. It's a cat and mouse game for him. At first, she's scared. And then she gets a backbone and she starts to fight him on stuff. She has allies in Rika and Michael. Because even though Rika is helping him and helped him take down Winter's father, she feels guilty about it. And she still wants to be friends with Winter. So she's basically told Damon, I'm going to give you this information because I need something from you. But we're not friends. I'm still going to go behind your back and I'm going to try and derail your plans for revenge. And I'm going to try and get close to Winter. And Will does the same thing. In a bid to piss Damon off, he befriends Winter, and he's, just hanging around and he's poking the bear, basically. Damon low-key loves all of them, and he won't intentionally hurt them, but it pisses him off. He has severe anger management issues. So it's divulged later in the book. We knew from the second book, it hinted at what Damon's backstory was. From the time that he was around the age of 11, his mother began secretly creeping into his room. At first it was just, I'm gonna lay and cuddle with you. And then it was, I'm gonna rub up on you. And as he got older, the sessions became more intense and more suggestive and more explicit. And it finally got to the point where he was in his early teens, like 13, 14, and she made him have sex with her. And that continued until he was 18. Throughout all of high school, he was absolutely miserable at home. He would have these times when she would come to him and he would dissociate because she was sexually molesting him. That lended to his fucked upness. I know that's not a word, but you understand what I mean. And because of that, something that Winter had told him that day in the fountain, she said something to the effect of, the body can only process and feel one pain at a time. So if you hurt yourself and you're in pain, put pressure on, she shows him by biting like his finger or something, and it takes the pain away from a cut that he had, because now his mind is focused on this new pain. And that stuck with him. And over time, that morphed from self-harm, which he was doing in the beginning. He was cutting himself in places like his underarms and the inside of his thighs and his scalp, and areas where now he's covered in scars from where he was cutting himself, to relieve the pain that his mother was causing him. And then over time, that morphed into, he came to the realization that he could get the same high or the same type of like defocus from this area to this area by causing pain in others. So that is what made him such a bad guy. Like that's how he grew up to be so evilish, right? So towards the end of the book, it's revealed that the information that Rika wanted, or that Damon got for Rika, was proof that there was a conspiracy, a plot between Michael's dad, I forget his first name, whatever, Chris, and Damon's dad, Gabriel Torrance. There was a plot between the two of them to cause the accident that killed Rika's father. They basically had him murdered. For Mr. Christ, it was done with the intention of him being in charge of all of their money. He was like the financial manager for the Fane family. Once he was out of the way, he would have access to everything. He'd be able to control everything. It's not made clear until the end of the book what Gabriel's motivations were. Damon kind of writes it off as, oh, you know, his father doesn't need an excuse to do something evil. Okay, but in this case, he had a reason. He wanted access to Rika's mom. And there's a huge, when I say huge, I mean huge plot twist at the end of the book about why Gabriel wanted to have access to Rika's mom, or what was his motivation to get rid of Rika's dad, right? So yeah. So throughout the book, all of this is going on. Winter in present day, Damon is making her miserable, but he's also showing her sides of himself that appear to be attracted to her and still have feelings for her and whatever. And so she's also torn between the two facets of Damon. And she remembers everything that he did when he was her mystery man. And she comes to realization that he can't be entirely evil. Like he can't be she can't reconcile that he has no redeeming qualities. So she finds herself towards the end of the book, despite everything, wanting to be with him. After they've had their come to Jesus moment where they have like a legit conversation about their feelings for each other, he reminds her of things that happened, the correct things that happened, the correct timeline of things during the fountain and the treehouse. She remembers, with Damon's help and through like a dream that she has, I think, that the incident in the treehouse and her subsequent fall and blindness was not Damon's fault. That in fact it was her own father that caused the fall. Damon was trying to get her away, like to get her out of the treehouse safely. And her father climbed up and she lost her balance and she fell. It wasn't Damon's fault. And now she has to question everything, every bit of hatred that she's felt towards him since the time they were kids. And between that and everything that he did for her during the time when she didn't know it was him, she realizes that she's still in love with him, that she's in love with Damon the person, not the mystery man Damon, but as a whole. And he's the same. He realizes that he doesn't really want revenge against her, that yes, she sent him to jail, but he at some point takes some responsibility and says, I tricked her into having sex with me. I know that. She wouldn't have touched me otherwise. And he kind of takes responsibility for himself. And yeah. And then the big plot twist happens. And in addition to the plot twist that comes during a confrontation with Gabriel in an attempt to run him out of Thunder Bay, they all band together and they want to take him down because he's been at the focus point of a lot of the bad shit that's happened to them as a group. He reveals to Damon the plot twist that I won't tell you. And Damon becomes so enraged that he basically stabs him repeatedly and he kills him. And he doesn't go to jail. I mean, the police come and they take him in, but he's never processed. And an attorney comes in and says, you're free to go. They say that all the eyewitnesses, your friends, say that you came in and that you guys came in and found him like that. He must have been killed by somebody else. Despite the fact that Damon's wearing blood-covered gloves and was holding a knife. I mean, so it's clear someone pulled strings to get him out and get him free of that charge. But who and why? Okay. This is an hour-long video. So, my dears, my lovelies, that is my very diluted, very mishmash review for Kill Switch. For the rating for the book, I started out preemptively saying that I knew it was going to get at least a 9. For the rating for the book, I gave it a 10. I bumped it up to a 10. I very rarely do that. But this book, among like the first two were very good. For a hot minute, I was obsessed with the second book. And then this book blew my fucking panties off. Like, the series as a whole gets progressively better and better with every book. I can't wait to see what happens in Will's book. Will's book is the last book in this series, and it is called Nightfall. It's the story of him and Emery, which is a girl that he knew in high school that, for all intents and purposes, made his life a living hell. That's a quote from one of his friends. But he went to prison. Him and Kai went to prison for basically almost beating her brother to death, who coincidentally happened to be a police officer, because he was abusing her at home. So Will's book is Will and Emery. I can't wait. I'm going to start it immediately. I just knew I needed to purge myself of this review before I could start that, because if I didn't, then even with my ridiculous footnotes, the plot would have been gone. So, for the rating, I gave the book a 10. Would I recommend this series to people? Yes. If you like dark romance, if you're not easily triggered by these types of scenarios, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Read it. It's free with Kindle Unlimited. I know not everybody has Kindle Unlimited. Even if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, the books to download them on your Kindle are very reasonable in price. But I'm warning you, you will love these. And you will spend a massive amount of money on the trade paperbacks because you will need to buy them after you've read them. I'm just saying. You've been warned. Okay. So yes, I would recommend this book to anyone. I would recommend this series to anyone. It's been by far one of the standout series that I have read in ever. I have read a lot of paranormal romance series. I don't know why I always want to add this. I've read a few contemporary romance series. No. This one is like in a realm all by itself. And I can't compare it to anything else that I've read. I can't say, oh, this is like this series, or oh, this is like, no, I can't. And maybe that's just because I have a limited knowledge of dark romance as a subgenre. But it's unlike anything else that I've. There is like orgy scenarios in these books. There is some male on male action. There is some female on female action. There is some menage action, harem, reverse harem. There's a little bit of everything. And none of it is off-putting. I liked all of it. Does that make me a sick bitch? Probably. Do I care? No, not in the least. Give me more. Just give me all of it. So yeah. So that's it. My mouth is so fucking dry. Tea. Okay. So, if you enjoyed this video, if you like me, if you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Please share me with your friends. If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications when I upload a new video. I usually upload at least once a week. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I am very present on Instagram. So you could, if you want to interact with me the most, Instagram. I do have a members only Facebook group and a Twitter, which I've almost completely abandoned because I forget it's there. But if you want, you can follow me there too, sure. And yeah, I think that's it. You will notice that my next several reviews will probably be for Penelope Douglas books, because I will be reviewing Nightfall as well as the 2 novellas that happen. So I think the next video will be for one of the novellas, Conclave, which took place after Kill Switch, but before Will's book. So I have to keep them straight up here. I really thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode, for another 4-hour video. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I love all you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Okay? I love you so much. Bye. Bye. Oh, my back already hurts. I've been sitting here for 30 seconds. Okay. Hey guys. The timing was off on that. Hi guys. Motherfucker. Perhaps I thought I'd have time to disappear before he got out, or he'd cool. Perhaps I thought I'd have time to disappear before he got out, or he'd cool off in jail and be anything but the horror he was. God damn it, why can't I read today? Give her, her sister, and her mother nowhere to run and no fuel to escape. Fuel tool escape. Why is my nose itching so bad? Sorry, Freckles. I didn't mean to scare the shit out of you. 12 hours later. This video is going to be 2 hours long. It's going to far surpass any video length that I've done before. And mostly the reason for that is because it's a 700-page book. Nearly. And also because I had to explain, like, subplot and subplot and subplot that was running through all the books. Okay. Did I do okay? I don't even know. Sella, did I do okay? It is what it is. I can't. You're either here for my antics and the blooper reel, or it can't be for the review. It's terrible. All my reviews are terrible. Okay, I have to go. I'm supposed to be doing work. I gotta go. I love you guys so much. I'll see you next time. Is my remote gonna work? Let's see.